savage.
Yeah, it really was. So we're going to be moving on to game number 2, and it will be on Brax's Hold Down. Now, one thing is for sure that we've seen from that game is that Soul Torturers is making far more of a fight of this than I was expecting coming in.
Yeah, and I feel like this is another map where I don't feel like they are going to be struggling that much. At least it's going to help them into this match because it does focus on the macro. It focuses a lot onto the rotations, and I think if they have a proper draft, even though this is E-Star's pick, I feel like Soul Torturers has an opportunity, especially after their performance in Game 1.
Do we get to see a Zagara? I really want to see a Zagara.
Potentially. There is also maybe a potential for Zul'jin knowing E-Star, but the cool thing about both having Towers of Doom and Braxis in this series specifically for all the other teams watching is that we hadn't had E-Star show any games on either of those two maps at all this tournament. So everyone else is kind of like, okay, this is good. We get to see some more variation.
Yeah.
So, because so far they had just played a lot of games on Dragonshire and Infernal Shrines, and you want that more data as you're going into the next level of this tournament.
All right, let's get it going, as we do have E-Star versus Soul Torturers game number 2 here, as Soul Torturers are fighting for a tiebreaker to try and claim a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, this one should be interesting. E-Star deliberately not going with the conventional maps, I believe. So, and they ended up picking Braxis, so I imagine they have something in mind. One thing to note about Braxis is the heroes that they are good with are actually pretty good on this map. The Vala in the 4-man or the 3-man, whichever one you want to play it in, very, very strong when you combine it with the Oriole or anything else to support it. And Illidan is actually also viable on this map if you want to be running Illidan. He can solo top lane. He can potentially even run Hunt. So I feel like E-Star is somehow going to make this a team fight map, even though it historically isn't. So kind of want to see how they do that.
Already paying attention to it. Soul Torture is not going to let that go over to Jing Chen. The Vala, and here goes the Uther. I want to know where Dehaka falls on this draft, if he falls into it. I feel like I like Dehaka on other, even though it feels like this was the first place we actually, Dehaka came into the meta on Braxis Holdout.
That's correct.
I feel like it's also, now that there's so many other ways to play the laning, they're so close that I would rather see teams kind of pull away from it compared to like that of like a Cursed Hollow, where you actually get value out of the teleport. It's not a bad pickup. I just don't know if I think it's like as first pick worthy as it has been over the past 6 months.
I'll never forget Cattle over at BlizzCon showing me the way of adaptation on this map. I was like, oh, Cattle, you've improved my life forever. But there you go. That's going to be Malfurion being picked up by Soul Torturers.
Yep, the first pick Malfurion. Oh, man. Giving away the Genji right here is my thought. Braxis Holdout Genji.
It's got to be a bait for something. Like, an intention is something a little bit more creative. I mean, maybe not. It just seems insane to be giving up the Genji after E-Star has been not only so successful with it, but it accents the map as well, being so highly mobile.
Yeah, if E-Star gets the Genji, which I imagine they will, it's going to be very hard to kind of fight around the boss area. And Genji is also so mobile on this map. The walls he can jump over lets him rotate from top to bottom way faster than a regular hero can. So.
I'd wondered if E-Star would get Tafstar along with that Genji, because they have picked it so much in HGC when they played HGC China, but instead they're going to get Tyrael. Tyrael has been very commonplace for them, seems going up further and further. And then,
wow.
I thought something like this might happen, and I don't know why.
I feel like
the Tiger Chromie.
Yeah, E-Star's got to have something planned here. You don't just randomly second pick a Chromie and give your opponents a Genji to dive her. So I'm really looking forward to what E-Star has planned.
I really hope they're not underestimating the severity of the current meta, because it feels like Chromie could be very vulnerable to things like the Genji, etc. As you were mentioning, giving it away potentially.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna, if let's say Soul Torturers picks up the Genji here and opens up the map, Chromie's going to have to be very, very safe.
Yes.
But as long as the fort still stands, she should be comfortable enough with her range to, at least if he overextends, to be able to get onto her, have some form of fight back or a punishment.
Well, now they could just ban it.
But Gul'dan Stitches.
Maybe the Genji is just not in the meta for the Asian teams on Braxis Holdout.
Maybe.
I know they don't play it that much. Interesting, though.
It is, especially with how commonplace it's been on every other map, right? And you could debatably make an easier argument, as you already did on this map, as to why Genji should be that level of priority.
Yeah.
I feel like even Roll20 kind of put on a bit of a clinic on why North America values it so highly with its rotations and the mobility, but we're not going to see it here. Dehaka banned out. I'm still just excited. Where do we see E-Star move after that Chromie lock-in? She's good defensively, but I feel like they've got more behind it than just here's a little bit of a Chromie to help, stop your siege with that Gul'dan.
Well, I wonder if this Dehaka signifies that they're either getting a different solo laner here, or they're getting Tyrael, or they're going to put Tyrael in the solo lane and have that potentially be played again by Savage.
Is Ragnaros a potential for E-Star? Because, I mean, that could, in theory, down the line, couple up with Chromie in one or two ways.
It's possible. It does get more defensive tools to be able to stall the game out. I just feel like it's way too out of the meta at this point. It is possible. It very much is, especially on two-lane maps like this. I just feel like it's too slow of play for E-Star on top of it.
I just don't think it fits what we know of E-Star at all, although possibly since it is so good for the Battleground itself. Soul Torturers are going to ban Lieutenant Morales, having seen a few Chinese Braxis holdout games now.
Yeah, I mean, they still have kind of like a divey comp, whether the Tyrael goes Sanctification or Judgment, they're going to be looking for stuff to supplement that. The Chromie can follow up from afar as well.
Yep.
Looking for a top laner, some obvious choices include Sonya and the Yorick. If you're E-Star, you're more likely to go for the Sonya option because you can kill people faster with that. So, look, Rhaegar as their healer, and the Sonya.
Okay. Do they have to be... does E-Star have to be worrying now about the other lane, the 4-man? Because Gul'dan's going to provide some great wave clear. And then what do they have to combat with that? I mean, Chromie with Dragon's Breath, if she's actually just laying it down on the entire wave and it hits it, is going to clear it pretty fast, but obviously that's a cooldown that you would rather be using to try and poke your opponents out of lanes, right?
I actually really like Chromie as a defensive tool the Gul'dan. Yeah, Gul'dan does put that pressure up onto the front wall itself, but as long as Chromie's just flinging out spells constantly, she should apply enough pressure to at least make the Gul'dan second guess his positioning to where he's not nearly as effective.
And drain life.
Yeah, and you have the opportunity, where he's going to be self-sacrificing. Malf has to be always in the lane with him, otherwise Chromie is a phenomenal defensive tool. But what I'm looking at is the focus into the Sonya and the Chromie. With the Chromie so high up, I still don't see the reasoning for it, which makes me feel like maybe this is some form of leap, hyper-aggressive play from E-Star.
Yeah, I can definitely see something like that happening.
Like onto the Malfurion and Gul'dan, both of those are very vulnerable. Stitches and Leoric are terrible when it comes to peel as well, so it's not like it's gotten any better. Horrify is the only major fear, I think, when I look at that. It's just they need a follow-up burst, I feel like, more than Chromie. Chromie's definitely enough, but I like playing it safe. I would like to see something else.
We're still waiting for Xingjian's hero, unless he's playing Chromie, and what we have, or what we know of Tiger playing Chromie was just that one game. He generally sticks more to his auto-attack heroes.
Yeah, I mean, Greymane is still up, right? It's a very good option here. Bullet, very effective. You get the Bullet Chromie combo. Bullet can hit people when you're going Leap, if you're going Leap. I like that for him if he is going that route. I mean, once you go Earthquake X Strike, I'll believe you can go anything, So.
There it is.
My God.
Found it. It's Leap. Leap Judgment.
Oh my God.
Precision Strike, boys.
Precision Strike, yeah, the one shot.
Love it. Love
Hopefully.
it. Love it.
I didn't want this day to come.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I feel like I just heard the shouts of Tempo Storm outside the door or something.
I think so too.
Oh my, Nova. No, Nova, please. Okay. Well.
I'm excited.
What do I even say?
Let's go. Bam! Sonya Leap with Precision Strike?
Well, from any team, of all the teams that come to this tournament, it has to be E-Star that brings out the Nova. Which actually, a lot of teams in the past, I've heard European teams before actually theorize that Nova's not bad on this map if you can actually execute it well.
I think so too, actually. I think Nova's not terrible, but then I try literally every single hero on every single map.
Fair play. All right, prediction time.
I believe in Soul Torture's ability to bring back the mentality. I know they're hungry for this victory, and to be able to withstand the craziness that Eastar is throwing at them. Soul Torturers.
Dreadnought.
Eastar is coming into the groups with the most dominant team.
Yes.
And they, from the first rotation of picks, we knew they were doing something creative. They've thought this out. Definitely Eastar.
Fan.
Ooh, you know, I've always voted for Eastar every single time, but this time it's a doozy. Like, if you block the names out, there's no chance I would vote for that composition. So I think I have to go with Soul Torturers for the first time.
Wow, 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 wow. It's a first here for Fan for the mid-season role. Let's check what the chat thinks. At this point, I'm hands off. Yeah, well, I wonder if that's going to continue. Do we stay for another %? No, we don't. All right, so we're ready to find out if Nova on Braxis Holdout can help Eastar go for 2-0 as we head over to the commentary team. Take it away.
Eastar tries to utilize the power of the player killer #1, and I feel we're back in 2015 with Judgment, Precision Strike Nova potentially.
Yes, we are, Keldor, but we are loading into our game #2. It's going to be on Braxis Holdout, and we're going to start with the team on the left.
To the left side of the map, we currently have Savage on Asonia, SW on Rega, H on Tyrael, Tiger on Chromie, and Xingzi, the Graming God himself, on Nova.
And fighting for hero leagues everywhere, it is Soul Torturers on the right, with Hikari on Malfurion, Goddog on Gul'dan, Scroll on Stitches, Lowly on Genji, and Zola on Leoric.
So there's a few things we have to say before we head into this game. First of all, someone needs to send an ambulance over to the waiting room because Psalm is having a heart attack after another, I can promise you that. The first game was rough for him. The second game with the Nova pick is going to be worse. Tempo Storm watching this and, of course, hoping for Eastar to clench out a 2-0 victory. Soul Torturers, they want the map so they can force the tie. But I'm also happy that Chromie went for Trixler's favorite talent on level 1 with deep breathing.
Yeah, very calming talent. Speaking of calming, Nova is dead. I feel calmer. I feel much calmer. Life is how it should be.
That was anticlimactic.
It's fine, she has the whole game to disappoint me. As we see also, even in death, coming in from Tyrael, the increased explosion damage by 25%.
All right, so Nova entering the game and immediately dying. Sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
But, okay, so jokes aside, we have a lot of burst damage potential here, especially after level 10 for Eastar Gaming. At this point, we see Nova up to the top, trying to make sure that the Leoric gets a bit of extra value out of his trade, but he Wraith walks away and is able to survive, at least for now. In the meantime, we're having Tiger commit to a full W build on Chromie.
They're going even further, all in, down this leap into Precision Strike and now Dragon Breath combination. This is about as all in to blowing up an entire team in one go as you can possibly get.
Run, Nova, run! And barely getting out, but Lowly on Genji.
Get him, X!
Dodging the spear. All right, well done here. Okay, so this is going to be a rough one once again. On the last map, we had so many kills. It was insane. And now Eastar Gaming goes for a full blow-up comp. Question still remaining. Can they really pull this off?
That is, in fact, the question we will have to see. If not, then Soul Torturers are going to be... I believe this is the one they need to win to take it to a draw with Tempo.
Yeah.
That is the case.
That's
Lowly
how it works.
Dropping some poke. It is very... I love that Tempo Storm have their hopes pitted on Nova Chromie Leap Judgment potentially.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, I don't think that anyone on the roster of Tempo Storm has ever so much cheered for Nova in a game. Well, right now we have both of the teams on level 4 talents, and good old Nova, who on level 1 went into the advanced cloaking for mana regeneration and movement speed, now goes for the remote delivery with increased holo decoy cast range and side range. So a bit more vision on the map, but the fight down here at the bottom is strong for the second beacon, as we already see Soul Torture slightly ahead in the beacon progress.
So yeah, Nova with that scouting talent and Soul Torturers, like you said, a little bit ahead as they are currently with the only team able to control 2 beacons for a minimum amount of time. Other talents, slightly more normal. We have Putrid Ground, but we did have at level 1 Dampen Magic. So Sid is going still with a slam build, just without the extra damage on 1.
And in the meantime, we have a kill against Genji. He's down and still Chromie firing away here, but low Tiger about to escape. And he has only one hotkey, and it's the W. Möbius Loop on level 7 now, going full into the build here. It's a Trixler special.
Yep, cooldown reduction and reduced damage. Little bit of a decision, little bit of argument over which one is better, that or the increased center circle. Which, to be fair, oh my God, Zola. To be fair on that talent choice, though, the one with the center, they probably could have hit it due to the fact that there is so much stun lock here, but to each his own.
I mean, at this point, they have to go into something like Judgment League, right? It has to happen.
They're like, if they don't, this is the biggest troll of all time. They've just baited us so hard. It's like, oh yeah, this is the same team fight comp.
Well, I'm really curious to see how this game is going to end here, because the Soul Torturers, they are fighting tooth and nail now for this first beacon phase. At the top, they reclaim the beacon. We have Scroll, of course, on his Stitches, on level 1, going straight into the Dampen Magic. He needs that talent desperately against Nova and Chromie. What else are you going to go for? Lolly's still dodging around here, trying to see if he can maybe sneak the second beacon.
And an interesting thing here is that Gul'dan did... Oh, hang on. Gul'dan went to death. But he did actually go for the E build at the start instead of the Q build. Tiger able to pull back. Instead of the Q build, so that he would be consistently getting the spell armor, which he can get later in the game. He can still take that talent. It's just that it wouldn't synergize as much with his other stuff.
Yeah, top lane. We have a bit of trouble for Sonya here, as gets slowed down, tries to get the hit points back, but nope, Genji is there. Lolly with a quick dash, taking the kill. Now, I want to quickly mention that we have on level 7 the Snipe Master taken for Nova, so she is going to stack up the damage on the Snipe, but Deaths will return, will of course nullify that.
Zed. Now, he does have even in Death, so this should hurt. Yep, it hurts, but doesn't matter, because they survived and Tiro did not. Lowly barely surviving, but right now, Soul Torturers with the lead.
So once again, Snipe Master here, you need to make sure that you hit all your snipes. If you fail to hit one, then you are starting to lose the stacks that you accumulated before, and that makes Jingzi's job even more difficult at this point. Also pretty difficult is going to be the defense against the wave that comes bashing through the bot lane right now. Their Zerg wave is out for blood, and they don't really have the most wave clear here.
That extra radius from on the Dragon Breath is actually going to help out here, and this is likely the reasoning for taking this talent. God Dog getting chased down so aggressively. Hikari is now the target. Attempted body block from H. Damage being dropped, but they can't get there in time. Now H is the one in danger, using the extra speed boost. Genji trying to grab him. Hook onto SW770. He is able to escape. H might not be so lucky from the Shurikens. Drops a shield. Elder is to go back in after Lowly. Does some damage, but Genji able to escape. Stitches was never even in danger.
Leoric in the meantime is up at the top, but Easter just ignoring the entire Zerg wave, saying, hey guys, we don't have the wave clear anyways. Let's just walk past it and try to body our opponent. We had Nova just walking up to Mike Fury and casually hitting him in the face with a snipe, not ending up delivering the kill, but moving back out. But this game is a bit crazy, and the Soul Torturers are way ahead in experience at this point, Tetcher.
Yes, they are, and that is quite a strange scenario with the fact that how good E-Star have looked for this entire tournament, but not surprising if you take into account the first game. By the way, we do see a slowing sands coming in from Chromie, as opposed to the loop. There is a cleanse on the side of Soul Torturers, though.
All right, so there's a few things that I want to point out real quickly. First of all, the level 10 for E-Star is going to change a lot, but Soul Torturers have now a window that they can use to get massively ahead there if they play it right. At this point, we
That's the Gorge.
still have
Hey.
H falling. Okay, so he's dying here. Gorge, as you said, has been used. But this is really about how far ahead can the Soul Torturers get with that 10. And so far, it doesn't really look like they get too much out of the advantage they had. Easter Gaming has been pushing the top lane. They destroyed structures, they got experience, and are now about to hit their own heroic abilities.
Oh, Tiger drops the slowing sand, trying to escape. Here's Leoric, but down goes Chromie. X trying to move in to save, but is now in danger himself. The Entomb and Leap is insta-picked and used for the escape, but that's a 70-second cooldown.
Leap, Judgment, and Precision Strike. Boys,
Yay.
it's 2015 again.
And bad news for Nova, she just lost all of her Snipe Master stacks. She was max stacks and then missed.
Yep, that is also true, but now the big question here, how do you survive the blow-up? There's Judgment into Leap, into Precision Strike, slowing sands on the point. Soul Torturers, they just have to make sure that they ideally are the ones initiating the fights. Maybe with a good hook, getting the target, going for the Gorge, bringing it back, zoning with the Entomb here.
Oh my, did he just use the Hollow Decoy to block the hook? Are you serious, Singzy?
I'm so afraid of how this game is going to go from here. We have the beacon at the bot lane being fought over. Soul Torturers still with the lead. They have the lead. Scroll, on the other hand,
Cleanse.
here it is. The cleanse is in, but Scroll is still alive, but not for much longer.
He
Stitches
gorged
dies.
Rhaegar. Horrify was used, potentially a bit unnecessary there. But God Dog still pulling back, still takes damage from Chromie, who is approaching max stack. She has 99-25. There's the leap. They find Genji, but Genji finds a path to escape.
I just don't know. Easter.
It is
Easter is just dashing around with Judgments, with lead. Now keep in mind, with Stitches falling, is a bit of an issue, but we still have Leoric the entire time at the bot lane. Now he has to deal with Sonya, who recaptured the point, and that is actually progress on the side of the Chinese team.
It is at this point where you probably wish that Stitches could gorge his own teammates to protect them from all the damage that is coming out and just carry them to freedom. But the best he could do would be a helping hand. Genji tries to fight Nova, instead finds a time trap and some damage from SW770.
64 on the progress bar, but Leoric has recaptured the bottom
They're gonna get
beacon
top
spot.
too.
And they are going to get top, but at least Easter Gaming is now at 64% themselves.
is back.
And this is not quite over just yet.
Judgment back. Tyrael dying, but escapes. Moves on to the point. Neutralizes it. Both teams getting close. There's the Judgment. There's the damage. Mal's getting dropped low. Twilight Dreams onto Tyrael, who just runs at him anyway. Trying to finish him off, and they get the kill. Rhaegar is in the enemy fort. Is focused down and killed.
Rhaegar gets lost in the base, and now they're going for Tyrael. Here comes the leap, though, and the kill against Genji. Easter is randomly... It looks sometimes as if they're randomly throwing out their ults. The Precision Strike on Nova didn't hit anything. Then we have Tyrael judgmenting in, and in the end, he's able to secure the kill with Rhaegar, but it ends with a dog dying himself. This is bonkers. This game is all over the place right now. And Easter... I mean, this is them redefining the word YOLO. I said it on the last map, but this is worse.
This is crazy. X on Zola. The double Entomb. X spinning for safety. The sweep.
You got to be kidding me.
Leoric flees and he escapes. Everyone lives. Yay.
Are you serious? So, we have level 13 talents for the Soul Torturers. They're still ahead in experience by an entire level. The talent is going to be achieved by Easter any second now. The beacon progress, 64% for the Chinese team, 48% for the Taiwanese. Soul Torturers still ahead here, but the even talents allow Easter to go in. And let's keep in mind, they have not really coordinated a lot of their abilities and heroics just yet. They can do that soon, though. Lolly needs to be very careful how he uses his dash, because we saw already earlier... We saw already earlier how Sonya exploits the cooldown on the dash with the leap. Chromie is falling. Leoric is dying. Here it comes.
Oh my God.
Leap and Judgment both being used, and that is the end of Genji.
Yeah, so it is Chromie traded for Genji and Leoric there as E-Star moves back to the top, and Soul Torturers trying to maybe sneak to the bottom with Leoric scouting for them. There's still 3 heroes down here, though. It's a 3 versus 3 until Zola's back, but luckily he's Leoric. He is already back.
To the top, Tyrael reclaiming the beacon. More progress for the team in blue, but Zola is back in, and we have the Ancestral on Sonya. They're still getting progress. They will win the wave. Are they losing heroes, though?
X pulling back. He's not done yet, though. He's just trying to bait out of position as Goddog's focused down. Horrify used straight away, but X ends up chasing Malfurion there. Down goes Stitches. Hikari is now in danger as X is trying to chase him down, but here's Genji with the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, Genji with the Dragon Blade, but does that matter? Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
there's
Gets
one.
the kill against Rhaegar. That's 1. The counter kill against Gul'dan. Tyrael is dead too. The Zerg wave moves in, and Zola is low as he tries to escape.
It's a 2 for 2, but the Zerg wave is gonna get some structures. Then the leap into the Dragon Breath as Hikari gets out again. Genji dashes to freedom, and Leoric decides to be spooky.
Oh, God!
Oh no, don't stand still! Soul Torturers, why?
Oh, Zola barely getting out of there, and once again the snipe attempt. This is all over the place. We have 12 kills against 9. This is just repeating what we saw on last map. A kill for kill as Chromie falls but kills Genji with a dying breath.
That feel when it's so hard playing against E-Star that the sky wants to kill you as his abilities drop from every direction, just destroying a defending Soul Torturers.
This is just chaos. This is organized chaos, what we're currently seeing here. And in the meantime, Nova is speccing fully into the snipe.
God.
And there it is.
Oh my god.
Judgment precision strike to the face.
Yeah, and we also now see Stitches and Leoric getting chased down. They're looking a bit like if they did gorge someone. It's Sonya. Not the most ideal target, but they're trying to slow her down with the slam build.
Ancestral.
Focusing her speed boost from
Ancestral.
Tyrael. Ancestral not even used.
Estelle just standing there, it's like, dude, you're not even worth it.
You don't even need it. It's the better situation
If
there.
you fall, like, I don't care.
You will bring dishonor to the team if you die. But it is currently only 14 kills to 10. This is very close in terms of kills, very close in terms of levels as well. Even structures. Currently, Soul Torturers are ahead.
Hunger of the Wolf is being used, by the way, by his W, so even
Oh,
more
yay.
percentage damage against Stitches, and of course against also Leoric here. We have a game in which he fully specced into the Wolf on 1, 4, and 16. Stitches with a slam build for a bit more additional damage, but this game is just simply all over the place. Gul'dan hasn't, 15 minutes in, he hasn't completed his Echo Corruption.
We also have Shifting Sands from Chromie, not even with the piercing Q. She's just going to attempt to reset it every time she auto-attacks by hitting over and over again to consistently keep up that damage. And Tubi's trying zone Judgment, Precision Strike, and Gul'dan ain't going to get those stacks anytime soon.
Gul who?
Gul'dan.
All right,
As we
right.
see
Just
SW770 focused down. He gets taken out the back.
Malfurion! It's a kill against the healer. Rhaegar is dead as well. Chromie still doing her thing from the backline. Tiger with all that he can accomplish here, and Lolly is just not getting the kills in. Skrull moves in, wants it, but doesn't get it as Tiger simply uses the timeout.
Lowly trying to stay alive. Zola trying to slow to give him a chance. X survives, killing off Lowly, and Zola will escape thanks to that lingering apparition.
Xingzi!
Oh, they're not done! Why would you do that? Zola chased down and he gets
God.
killed off. You don't be versus this team. You run all the way back.
Nova, player killer #1 with only 2 kills, but 17 assists. Nova was actually involved in every single kill that we have seen on the side of East Star
But
Gaming.
she's currently on 0 stacks, meaning terrible player. She missed a snipe. So, top 4 in the process of dying. Bot wave in the process of being cleared. X team in the process of regrouping.
So that's another beacon that they're channeling right now, and they're already at 66%. We have 18 versus 17 in talents, and right now things are looking good for
Oh,
Easter.
Hikari getting so much damage. He's still alive. That's good.
You don't know what to focus here. We need
Done.
Genji. Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Ice block.
Ice block negating 2 heroics. That's a good start.
Yeah, and God Dog now at full health as well. There's the leap. Twilight Dream onto the Sonya here, putting her out of commission for a bit as SW770 is focused by Genji.
Rega is down. Genji, can he get another kill? Doesn't look like it. God Dog in a bit of trouble using the Horrify here. They're moving in once again. Nova is down. Jingzi eliminated. God Dog dropped by Chromie as she goes in and now fights with Stitches.
We're seeing the big versus small. Who will win? E-Star trying to take back the beacon here as Scroll is focused down. Lowly doesn't want to go back in. No one's low enough for him to finish off. And Hikari needs to back up. That's going to be the Zerg wave heading down top with the fort already looking like it's made out of paper mache.
Fan has said it several times. These guys do not panic, and he is right on the money with the statement. They just don't. It doesn't matter what happens in these fights. It doesn't matter who dies. It doesn't matter if they miss an ult or two. They always keep their calm. They stay in the battle and drop targets wherever they can. 22 kills against 13 as we have the Zerg wave barreling through the top lane and trying to go for the keep with E-Star Gaming already holding level 20.
Angel of Justice and Tyrael though, he plays his Eldarin's Might outside of the base, so he Angel of Justice in and then Angelic flashed out, so he was able to get engaged and bait out the ice block, but that's still a big cooldown to burn. Actually, no, it's not. I got the cooldown reduction too.
I haven't even seen this strat work in quick match in a long time, and currently E-Star makes it happen at the mid-season brawl.
Cut off. Ariat Crater. Ariat Crater from Sonya. I've not seen this talent since Alpha.
No Chen feels
Here
bad,
we
man,
go.
though.
Judgment. Ariat Crater is used. It zones out God Dog. There's no escape. The rock's blocking the path. Genji doing some damage though. Storm Shield dropped. It's a massacre.
Rega.
Zola on the run, he gets taken out. Rega also dropping low and dropping out. Tyrael finally drops, looks for God Dog, but he survives.
Scroll just barely gets away. They kept the keep.
Oh,
the keep is still there. Genji!
Lee!
No, yes, no.
The deflex, he finally goes down. Chromie's still alive, being back to base.
You got to be kidding me. Gul'dan is stacked, but he can't get the kill, and we have Genji falling. They still have the keep, Tetcher. The keep didn't fall.
The keep survived. No one else did, but at least the inanimate object
Everything else died.
Yep.
But with a level 20 advantage and 100% Zerg wave, they didn't take the keep down. And now it's 20 versus 20.
So to talk about some of these talents, Angel of Justice reduced cooldown on Judgment by 40 seconds and an extra 50% range. Ariat Crater, a crater for 20 seconds and a reduced cooldown of Leap by 20 seconds. Precision Barrage, 2 charges and a 3-second cooldown between each charge of Precision Strike.
I could hear a scream of frustration from some in the other room when the keep didn't fall, and now it's 20 versus 20. Bolt of the Storm. Enjoyed while it's still there, Malfurion. He hasn't escaped now, and so does Stitches. Genji still hasn't picked his talent, but this is still Soul Torches in the game. And this is what it comes down to. Are they able to win this one map against E-Star Gaming to force the tie against Tempo Storm?
Genji not yet picked his 20. He took Reflect on level 16, reflecting an extra 33% of the damage he blocks. That's probably the best possible talent he could have come with against this team, as we see Zola in full retreat.
Zola on the run. Shots fired. The hook!
Oh,
the hook!
the
Against the
Can they get him?
Gamma! They get the hook against Chromie!
coming in,
It has to be the kill. Timeout used. Judgment! They go in with everything they have, but Chromie's down!
Chromie is down, but X is still alive. He gets Ancestral Precision Strike, kills Gul'dan. Genji trying to take down Zing C. He gets him down, goes SW770. It's just X and H staying alive.
X gonna give it to you. Oh,
Not anymore.
Sonya is down. Gul'dan was the sacrificial pawn, and they go for the boss. Top lane is being pushed by the camp already, but this God hook, look at it. Tiger gets hooked, and this is where it starts. But still, E-Star nearly making it happen with the
Ariat Crater, Judgment, Precision Strike, everything happened, but Gul'dan, the perfect positioning of the Horrify, the second Precision Strike for the kill. And and they've been able to get the boss. They're trying to get the Elders. There's the judgment onto Genji, but he turns it round. H is on his own. Lucian trying to escape.
Oh, Tyriel's still on the run. He's trying to get away.
But it's
Lolly,
Genji.
Lolly. It's all about Lolly right now. The Genji with a kill. Everybody's dead. The boss is at the top. That's definitely going to be keep. They have both of those beacons. Soul Torturers are torturing the American fans at this point. Tempo Storm is glued to the screen as the Taiwanese team is hoping to take down E-Star Gaming or Brax's holdout.
Chromie with the slowest boss clear of all time is attempting to kill it off as the Zerg is on the way. It's going to be a 4 versus 5. Both teams at level 20, and it's going to be moving onto E-Star's core.
This is the best chance that the Soul Torturers has. The bot at the top lane. They're moving
Here
in.
they come.
Tyrael down for
Hook
27.
on Nova.
Oh, Jinxie!
Jinxie is deleted here, and Genji moving on to SW. He drops the Storm Shield to stay alive. Sonya is silenced. No whirlwind for her, but she's able to drop the Ignore Pain to stay alive. Lowly, though, is also alive. It's only Chromie staying here for E-Star. Everyone else deleted. Chromie's in stitches. That's gonna be it, ladies and gentlemen. GG! And Soul Torturers takes game number 2, making it a 1-1.
50 kills in total in the game as we have Soul Torturers taking the map and forcing the tie.
Wow.
Yeah. Unbelievable game there. Judgment Tyrael, Leap Sonya, and the Precision Strike Nova, kill after kill. And E-Star, in the end, they lose it in a team fight where Stitches makes all the difference in the world with a fantastic hook against Tiger and Chromie.
That was such an incredible game. Like you said, 50 kills. Let's head over to the analysis concave to talk about it more.
What a game. I cannot believe what we just witnessed here.
Yeah, Sam can't either.
You guys should have heard. If only they could have heard Tempo. Every time E-Star all in and got a comp, just in the other room where everybody's watching, just blew up, right?
It's loud.
Oh my.
It's loud. And I'm not surprised. E-Star goes for an insane blow-up comp. Literally. Gilly, bombs everywhere.
Soul Torturers had the shelters. That's all I can say. I can't believe they made it through all of that. Didn't lose their keeps. That was huge too.
Yeah.
But being able to get through all the bombs that E-Star was dropping, especially 20 area crater.
Yes.
We were
went crazy.
certain it was going to be over. Yeah, we were also going crazy in here too.
Just unbelievable game. And they managed to make the tiebreaker.
They did manage to make the tiebreaker, and I mean, shout out to Scroll for the hook.
Yes.
The 2 hooks they absolutely needed to be able to come back in that game. When the pressure was on, he showed up, and so I just want to shout out that because we've criticized Stitch's plays over and over again in this tournament, but that was one where it single-handedly allowed them to come back.
Yeah, it definitely did. You were watching it out there in the pen with everybody. Tempo Storm now has to go into that tiebreaker, but overall, there were so many insane moments in that game. Too many to count.
Yeah, definitely way too many to count here. We have one fight on the bottom shrine that I can show you.
Okay.
If we could jump into the replay. So here we have a outnumbered fight for E-Star once again. What's new? 3 versus 4 at the moment. You see, they're skirmishing 3 versus 4. What happens in this fight is X gets low and he goes back in. And if we could pause right here. And that's the thing I want to stress, every time E-Star takes an outnumbered fight, usually they're doing it for a reason. So here you see the objective is being captured, and that's why they're so insistent on forcing this 3 versus 4 on the point. If we can play onward here. So as soon as they get the objective, they all start backing up. Their members rotate before, so now this is a 5 versus 4. E-Star goes in here, and, Stitches dies here. Just want to highlight some individual outplays here. If we could pause one more time right here, you see Lolly with the Dragon Blade going in here. This looks like a really bad scenario, right? You have a 50% Chromie, you have a 20% Rhaegar, and you have a 50% Xingxi. So if Genji can reset on one hero, he's going to instantly kill your whole team, right? But look what happens here as we play on, focus on the Rhaegar. He's juking and jiving here. See, one missed Dragon Blade, and then he gets stunned. So instead of killing that Rhaegar in 2 swipes, he missed a swipe, got stunned, and the time spent in between that made it so that he could not reset on the other low heroes, and E-Star subsequently won that fight.
We are joined here by GodDog, of course. I want to ask, overall, going into game 1, firstly, what did they think of the Thrall? And going into game 2, the whole draft entirely, because it was crazy.
那打第一局的时候，他们选了这个英雄萨尔，你是怎么感觉的呢？什么想法呢？而且然后看这第2局的时候，看他们的整个阵，你是什么感觉呢？
我觉得他们可能就是在试东西，就是我觉得他们没有很认真的在玩，然后可是我觉得我们1、2场就都没有打好，所以我觉得我们打得很糟糕。
I feel like they were experimenting a lot with their drafts, so I feel like we did not see the full form of E-Star today, and I also felt like my team didn't perform so well even when it came to both matches.
Fan?
So going forward, you now do have a tiebreaker match with Tempo Storm. How are you feeling about that?
现在过后你需要打一个加赛，就面对 Tempo Storm， 你什么看法呢？
我们等一下会就是打 Tempo Storm 的加赛，然后我觉得我们需要把这2场的心态还有失误都改掉，我们才有可能赢 Tempo Storm， 不然我觉得我们很难晋级。
Going into the tiebreaker, I think right now we need to take a break and reset our mindsets and attitudes because we performed poorly just now. So we need that before we face Tempo Storm.
Okay, I will ask just one more question about the last game. Obviously, because they'd picked such a crazy comp, it must have been difficult to go into. What was your mentality throughout that whole game? You made a great recovery towards the end.
那打第2局的时候，你们的状态是如何的呢？
因为我们第1局没有说打得很好，失误挺多的，所以我们第2局就是有点失落，就是整个团队气氛就有点不好，所以就我没表现好第2场。
I think after we lost the first game, the team atmosphere became a little bit desperate and desolate. So
Okay.
I don't think we performed really well at all in the second game.
All right, well, good luck in your tiebreaker match coming up as we check in with the groups now to see exactly what results have gone down so